Welcome to the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast with your host and realtor, the Frazier Hughes Experience, and do not forget to Hughes it or lose it.
Licensed realtor in the state of Virginia, broadcasting from the star city of Roanoke. I'm your host of the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast, the Frazier Hughes Experience, helping you sell and find your next home, plus giving you tips and interviewing people in our city that, make a difference in real estate. And this could be a home or could be commercial. And real estate right now is rocking. I'm excited to have on our guest today. And if you want to be a guest or showcase your business, no problem. You can message me on Facebook, the Frazier Hughes Experience, Frazier with a Z. Cell phone 540-314-5583. So our guest today, I'm very excited about because it has a lot to do with your home. Let's dial them up on the Hughes it or lose it real estate hotline. So I have on Carrie and James from Brown Hound Tree Service. How's your day going, folks?
It's going really well. Really well.
Good.
Dealing with downed trees.
Yeah. What causes a tree to go down besides wind?
Excessive rain causes them to uproot, roots rot, they fall over.
Yeah.
Rain plus wind does it even faster.
The reason I wanted to have you all on the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast is because, one, I like you. Two, you're welcome. And then two is that I think when it comes to selling a home or commercial property, trees have a lot to do with it. Recently I had a house that I had listed, and the client decided to take the tree down before listing the house because they felt like it could fall on the house. Do you run into that much?
Really frequently.
Yeah, tell me more. Like, what areas do you cover?
Pretty much everything from Salem to Benton, Bedford.
Yeah.
Almost. We don't usually go as far as Rocky Mount, but could potentially go that far.
We've gone to Boone's Mill, Hardy.
Now, when these trees, like, they get close to a home, I mean, I know that there's a couple different scenarios, just, going right into it. I mean, how do you know if a tree could possibly fall in a home? I mean, because it could stay next to the house for years. I mean, is there a way to go out there and look at the tree and be like, hey, you guys better, how does it qualify to get cut down and turn into notebook paper?
Usually it's the client's prerogative on. We can advise that some do look like they might be a threat. A lot of indicators. For one, if they're actually touching the roof, or the wind can potentially make them sweep the roof because that'll tear shingles off. Trees too close to the house create too much shade on the roof, which causes the roof to stay damp, which will eventually rot the roof out. Mushrooms growing on the wood indicate dead wood, which is weak wood, could potentially fall.
Huh,
There's a lot of things to look for.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about the shade on the house because you start thinking, hey, you got the shade on the house, then your home's a little bit cooler, but little do you realize your roof is damp.
Right, and a little bit of shade on the roof is fine, but if it's excessive and the roof never gets to dry, even when it's been dry for days and days and days, and the roof's still damp, that creates problems.
What I found interesting is my friend Jesse is a plumber, and if anybody's looking for a plumber, he's amazing. And he came to my house, and some baby wipes had gotten flushed down the toilet, and we got into the discussion of how roots from trees can take over your sewer line. Do you deal with that?
Yeah, we do. Maple trees especially are really bad for that. Those roots from a maple can go way beyond the tree.
Yeah, like where do they go?
Fill up a whole front yard.
Yeah, and then they'll take over the sewer pipes?
Yeah, they seek out wherever it's the most moisture.
And willow trees do that as well.
Willow trees. So give me a scenario or a story about, walk me through where maybe that's happened and you all have had to deal with it.
The ones that come to mind, I don't have a single scenario, but it's one I run into a lot, is that people are wanting a maple tree down because its roots have actually gotten under their driveway and pushed it up, or under a sidewalk, or even against the foundation of the house.
Wow.
And they're starting to actually push so hard that they're uprooting and damaging concrete.
So when they do that damage, or maybe, to the sewer line, do you all call out someone else to help you? I mean, or do they say, hey, I want y'all to tear up the driveway too? Do you have to call backup?
We don't usually do that part. We do work with people that do excavating that are excellent, that can come and deal with the after effects. We just get the tree out of the equation. We can grab the stump out, make sure the tree doesn't come back, make sure those roots don't keep growing. But if they actually have to be dug out from under stuff and repairs done, we have to send that off to somebody else after we.
You mean, so when you cut a tree down, it's kind of like a chicken. You cut its head off, it's still alive for a little bit, running around?
It depends. It can be. Most trees die when you cut them off.
Yeah.
But some of them will actually continue to try to live for a while. Some of them actually succeed. Maples are a good candidate for that. They'll start sprouting new growth right out of the stump.
That's amazing. Wow. And you heard they were such pretty trees too. All right, so a couple things to look for here are trees that are close to the house, and then trees with roots that are getting into the foundation of the home, maybe clogging up the sewer line or underneath your driveway and pushing your driveway up.
Correct.
And why would someone, call you all besides those two reasons? What else do they call you for?
Broken trees. In the realm of real estate, a lot of times it's just about curb appeal.
Yeah.
Because nature does a wonderful job of making trees beautiful, but sometimes people's perception of what is beautiful and nature's perception are not lined up.
Right.
Nature likes to make trees capable of accepting as much light as possible, so they get too thick. They end up looking like a great big cotton ball on a stem.
Yeah.
Where people actually want to see some of the trunk, and it's healthy for the tree too to kind of clean it out, let air blow through it, because then it doesn't look like a big sail for wind to push over.
Gotcha. So, how long does it take for you to take down a big tree?
That is an interesting question. It depends on how close it is to things, all the variable factors that differ from tree to tree. If it's in a wide open space, we can take a big tree down in about 3 minutes.
Just by dropping it, if it can just fall and land.
Right, but if it's next to a house and it's got electrical wires running through it and under it and a flower bed underneath it, a big tree can take days.
And it depends, too, on, because of the location of the tree and the health of the tree, whether or not we can use a bucket truck to take it down or use somebody to climb it, and what other equipment can actually get in to help clean it up. We do have a mini skid that allows us to go through a gate and a fence and pick up large logs that can make cleaning it up relatively quick and easy. But sometimes it gets tricky. If that tree is in the far back of a yard or right up next to a house and we can't necessarily get a bucket to it, it could take a little longer to take it down piece by piece with our climber.
Yeah, so, when I think of a tree coming down, I think of, hey, maybe you're coming out just to take down one tree, but you could come out and take down 5 or 6, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and sometimes, client will have us out to take a tree down, and before we know it, we've added on several other trees that, we might have noticed that they were diseased or dead, or maybe just needed a few limbs out of another one. So while we're there, we can always do an extra assessment just to keep your property safe.
Now, when you have a major storm in Roanoke, so you all could be kind of busy, and then a major storm rolls through, and then all of a sudden your phones blow up?
Oh, yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah, let's discuss that. So who hires you? Just homeowners or anybody else?
We get calls from homeowners. We get calls from business owners. we get calls from to come take down trees on communication lines, HOAs, realtors, all an assortment of people, municipalities. We've got a wide range of clientele.
Any crazy stories?
That would take I don't know if we have enough time to talk about the crazy stories.
I'd love to hear one.
Do you have any about any takedowns that were iffy or sketchy or?
If you think of one in the next minute or two, let me know. But would you be able to cut down my Christmas tree if we wanted to hire you to do that? Anybody ever said? Oh, think about this.
That actually makes me think of the story you're looking for. Just before Christmas last year, or year before last, we had a client need us to come out and take down a spruce tree. And when we got out there to look at it, they were telling us the story of how the folks that owned the house before them had bought that tree as a Christmas tree with the root ball still on it. It was intended to be planted after Christmas.
One of those small little take it home and plant it as a Christmas tree, a couple feet tall.
So that tree was their Christmas tree that year, and then they planted it, and it grew, and it got way too big, and it was starting to die out. The top of it, however, was still in perfectly good shape. So we brought in a crane and removed the top of the tree very carefully, and that was our Christmas tree at the shop that year.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it got to be a Christmas tree one more time.
It kind of touches on our philosophy, too, of these trees, to some people, are very, very meaningful things that we've seen some people actually shed tears over having to have a tree removed because maybe their great-grandfather planted it or their kids had a swing in that tree or a tree house. And just like we did with this pine tree, we gave it an extra life to live, so to speak. So we actually have a sawmill, and these trees that come down, we can offer our clients the option to have live edge slabs milled, and we can connect them to local woodworkers to have something made from their tree, something to remember it by.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, do you ever find trees growing through parts of the house, or like through a deck, or like through fences, anything weird like that?
Decks, mostly. A lot of times people build a deck right around the tree.
Okay, gotcha.
And then the tree ends up getting too big for the deck, and occasionally way too big, and then it has to come down. It can be a real challenge when it's completely surrounded by a deck.
What about like insurance companies and laws? I'm sure you know this. Like, say I've got a tree that's on my neighbor's property and it falls on my house. How does that work? Does their insurance cover it? Do I have to pay for it?
Actually, the way insurance law works, what lands on you belongs to you. If the tree were to split in 5 different directions and land on 5 different properties, it would be 5 separate claims.
Gotcha. So if my neighbor's got a tree over here and it falls on my house and puts a hole in the roof, then I'm responsible for it.
Yes, your homeowner's policy would cover that as far back as the property line.
Interesting. Yeah. Like I say, as long as the homeowner covers it, I'm sure, I'm sure that can get kind of tricky.
It definitely can be, and it can definitely cause a lot of sore feelings.
I'm sure you run into some trees that have like put a hole in the bed, like they've fallen and the bedroom's got rain coming in it. I mean, is that awful?
Yeah, we've definitely had that. We've had some really weird ones. Another crazy story. This actually happened to a colleague of ours. They had to take out a white pine tree that had fallen on a house, and when it fell, it shoved a branch as big around as a man's leg through the roof, through the ceiling, straight through a little girl's mattress. Missed the girl by 2 feet.
Good grief! While she was sleeping?
Yeah, while she was sleeping in the bed.
Yeah, my client that had the tree taken down, it was a big tree. I don't even remember the name of it. Where they were really scared the tree was going to fall where the child slept at night. So anytime there was a storm, they were like, "Oh my gosh, is this going to fall?" But you all could come out there and see if the tree was healthy or not, too, right? Couldn't you?
Yes and no. I will never tell a client that a tree is safe because if I leave there and the next night the wind blows a little extra hard and the ground's a little extra wet and that tree falls, it looks